Hey everybody, Omar here, your Edge South Africa guy. Just doing another video, and I was kind of wondering if you guys are into customs, or are there anyone that watch my channel on customs. This particular topic I keep trying to return to, never really gets answered, but you kind of wonder how kind is one of a kind. As you guys know, I did my videos on both these knives. They ran incredibly long because I was so excited to show them off to you. This one got, and you can't even tell in this light, but it got a really nice black midnight feature look to it. And this one had sort of ghost pivots done to it. So basically, I just want to talk about the concept of one of a kind and what it means, and where are we in the custom world with one of a kind knives. So as far as I understand it, one of a kinds are supposed to be a special release specifically for a particular customer. In other words, that's why you get into customs, because you want to have something that has all the characteristics and solidity of a really good pocket folding knife, but aesthetically, as an art piece, it's in your pocket, and it is the only one in the world ever like that. That concept always kind of made me kind of think a little bit. And I brought out my Clyde Challenor Vipers to express this point. So these are really, truly one of a kinds. I know that because, well, one, Clyde Challenor is a friend of mine, and two, I always am in the line of fire to be his guinea pig for him to try stuff out on when it comes to knives. So my knife is really going to be a one of a kind. So what I'm saying is that just about every knife that every custom knife maker makes will be a one of a kind. It's just that how kind is that one of a kind, okay? For example, let me give you guys what I'm talking about. So on this Viper here, this is a one of a kind for several reasons. Besides the fact that it is now jet black, right? One of the reasons that this knife is a one of a kind is because the inlays are no longer being done in this fashion, where it wraps around the pivot. You know what I mean? It's just not being done anymore, so that makes it one of a kind. Plus the fact that, you got the nice Damascus blade. But I mean, pretty much that would be the real reason why this was a one of a kind originally. But then he made it jet black. So when I handed him off this knife to get refinished, it was already a one of a kind because of the way that the inlays are done on it, right? Yeah, the way that, that they kind of wrap around the pivot here. So that made it one of a kind because he never did that again on any other knife. But then when I got it back refinished, he made it jet black. So now it's a one of a kind covered twice. You know what I mean? It's now jet black, and we still have the inlay wrapping around the back. So that's awesome, right? And of course, the inlay is, the same on the back. So that's awesome for the one of a kind there. So I'm actually covered twice on that knife as a one of a kind. This one I'm also covered one of a kind twice, okay? Simply because, number one, the process to do this takes so much time. It's time consuming for Clyde Challenor to do this, so there's no real reason to do this again, for everybody that wants to order a knife. I don't believe it's ever going to be a process that he's ever going to offer. This is what I would call an experimental knife, where Clyde Challenor felt inspired to do something. He did it, and it looked fantastic. Same with the jet black finish on my Viper here. It's the same thing. He was inspired, and I was in the line of fire. He wanted to try it, see if it worked. And I was lucky enough to be in the line of fire when he had this inspiration lightning bolt come down to his head and say, hey, let's just ghost the pivots. And it turned out to be a really fantastic idea. Now, the question is this knife, suppose he kept the pivots like it is on this knife. It's going to be a short video, guys. On this knife, this one here, and then this one here. Would this knife still be one of a kind? The answer to the question is, I'm going to say yes, and I think I'm right about this. And if Clyde Challenor ever watched this video, he can tell me. Even if I never had the pivots ghosted, or camouflaged, if you will, the knife would still be one of a kind. just because the cut of the inlay, okay, this pattern here is unique. All right, people need to understand this. When you're getting an inlay knife, there's a good chance, and of course the knife maker is going to tell you it's a one of a kind. It's just that the thing that they did that made it a one of a kind was they chose a different cut of the carbon fiber, in a sense that each one of these patterns of the inlay on the knife is completely and totally unique. No two will ever be the same. So even if the pivots were not ghosted like they are on this one, so that basically means I'm covered twice also on this knife, the inlay pattern on the knife of this one is still one of a kind, because he's going to choose and cut the same color carbon fiber off of possibly the same carbon fiber plate, but he's cutting a different section of that plate. So that makes your knife a one of a kind. That means that once he places the inlay on the knife, it's going to have a completely different pattern than what you see here. So I guess the whole concept or the whole idea of this video is it's in the trust of the knife maker to make a one of a kind for you. They are the ones who are stuck with that responsibility. That's on them, and no knife maker, no respectable knife maker would ever create a one-of-a-kind, say it's a one-of-a-kind, and online you'll see someone else's knife that looks just like yours. So if you guys are kind of worried about that, you know, if you're buying your very first custom and you just heard of the one-of-a-kind concept and you're going, man, how do I know it's even a one-of-a-kind? Man, all these look exactly the same. They're not all the same, okay? When a knife maker says a knife is one-of-a-kind, it's a one-of-a-kind. You just got to trust them on it. That's how you get in, you know, and especially, and this is one of the reasons why I love South African knives, because people in South Africa, keep in mind, guys, for many of them, they've chosen this way of life. And if somebody chooses to, I don't want to say badmouth them, but if they have a bad experience, that knife maker can't risk it. He just can't risk it. It's too much for him to bear, because he's feeding his family doing this for a living. You know, so, but yeah, I mean, I am happy that this knife is, you know, both my one-of-a-kinds are one-of-a-kinds covered twice because of the ghost pivot, and of course because of the pattern on the on the inlay. And actually on this one, it's covered 3 times, I think. The pattern on it is a one-of-a-kind. The way the inlays are set make it another one-of-a-kind. The fact that it's jet black made it one of. So in other words, there's so many things that a knife maker could do individually to your piece to make it a one-of-a-kind. The only one that's probably never going to be one of a kind is a plain Jane. A plain Jane. Actually, I think Clyde Chandler played a couple of jokes on me with the one-of-a-kind. We had a conversation when this Viper was getting made. Such a sick Clyde Chandler is. I said, can you do me a favor and make sure that the inlays are one of a kind? So he put a really beautiful inlay as a joke on this knife here when he was first making it, and he placed it in there and had a picture of a dick. He put a picture of a dick on it, and he goes, there's your one of a kind. And I just laughed at that. And you know, Clyde Chandler's got a really sick sense of humor. If you ever get into it with him, he does enjoy a good laugh, and you know, plus the fact, you know, he's just an overall super dude. So anyway, that's my thoughts on one of a kind. If anybody has any thoughts on one of a kind, please comment on it. Like I said, this video was just done to kind of open up that topic because it had been bothering me, and I'm kind of glad that I found the answer to that question. So, one of a kind, touchy subject, but it is what it is, and it's probably the only time that I say it is what it is and not have it be a negative reaction to that, you know, having that saying it is what it is as a negative reaction. This is one of the times when it's not going to be a negative reaction. You know, so so that's something to think about. So anyway, that's it for this video. I just want to do my one-of-a-kind thought video on here. This is probably the shortest video I've ever done. I have got a Yojimbo 2 coming up next week, and then the week after that, I'm probably going to take a break from doing videos because I'm waiting for a couple of prototypes from Henny Duplessis. So don't really know when that's gonna, when that will be. As far as I know, I'm getting them either mid-August or late August from Henny Duplessis. That's going to be another special video premiere, probably another hour-long video. I'm going to try and keep these damn videos down, man. People do not want to watch long videos, but, I don't do this for money. I just have a passion for knives and a passion for South African knives. This is my hobby. This is what I love to do, and I'm kind of like in the middle of possibly changing over to being possibly somewhat of an amateur knife promoter for other knife makers. I don't know if it's going to happen, but, I'm just going to go with the flow. So I'll see you guys in my next video, and you guys have a great and wonderful 4th of July weekend. Like I said, I'm off until Wednesday. I go back to work on Wednesday, and I love that because, it's Wednesday, you work, and you got 2 more days, and then guess what? Another weekend. So, so watch out for that Yojimbo 2 video, or Yojumbo 2, sorry, Yojumbo 2 video. That one's coming out probably, July 9 or whenever the next Friday is. I should be getting that knife at that time. So you guys enjoy your 4th of July weekend. It is absolutely beautiful, nice and sunny here in Tacoma, Washington. I'm going to enjoy the day. You guys enjoy the day too, and I'm sure fireworks are going off where you are tonight, even though it's a day early. So have a good time, man. Party.